Today we're driving the 2020 Outlander Sport. This is the 2.4 GT with the all-wheel control. It's painted in sunset orange metallic and has a black interior. The MSRP on this GT is $26,895. It's powered by a 2.4-liter Myvec dual overhead cam 4-cylinder that makes 168 horsepower and 167 pound-feet of torque. That's mated to a continuously variable transmission, and gone is the 5-speed manual from the base model. There are a few updates for 2020, including a new bumper, LED headlights, and some seats with red stitching. There's also Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but the rest of this Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is pretty much the same as when it came out. It drives okay, it's probably a decent little crossover for light off-road use, and it does have one of the best warranties in its class, with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and a 5-year, 60,000-mile new vehicle limited warranty. The Outlander Sport gets 23 miles to the gallon in the city, 28 on the highway, for a 25 mpg combined rating. Let's show you around this Outlander Sport and see what it's like on the road. So there are a couple different ways you can look at this Mitsubishi Outlander. The first way, you can look at it as an incredibly outdated, cheap-looking, unchanged model for Mitsubishi for the last 10 years. Or you can look at it as a refreshingly simple new vehicle offered on sale with a very competitive warranty. So, kind of going to leave those two perspectives up to you, but like anything in life, perspective is everything, and let's just go around this Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, show you guys what it's like inside and out. We'll take it for a drive, and it's been a couple years since I've done a video on this car, and I do like the new refreshed front end. I think it looks pretty good. First, we have a new infotainment here with Apple CarPlay. It always asks you to enable it, even if you hit always enable. So that's the first thing you want to do in the car, because once you get going, it'll lock you out and you won't be able to access your infotainment until you come to a complete stop or you unplug your phone. The display is not very good quality. It's pretty low contrast, kind of faded. It's all right. It does a pretty good job just showing you what you need. It's reasonably responsive. There were a few glitchy moments earlier this week that I had with it, but overall it's fine. The rest of this interior is pretty bargain basement. It would be okay if it weren't so rattly. This car only has 1,100 miles on it, and there's already a pretty significant dash rattle behind the dashboard here. Not sure if it'll show up in this video. It's kind of been intermittent all week, but it is colder this week, so that does tend to bring shakes and rattles out. But pretty cheap, scratchy plastics here. Nothing to write home about. Though Mitsubishi does have these nice suede-like, leather-like seats with red stitching that I think actually look pretty good. Everything's pretty comfortable in here. I have a nice high driving position. Visibility is fantastic. No sunroof or anything. These don't slide. But, pretty much everything you need. You have a couple, you've got your collision assist. You can do close, medium, and far away. You also have your lane keep assist that you can turn on and turn off. No adaptive cruise control or anything like that. Heated seats, traction control. You got a cigarette lighter port there, or a 12 volt. And you get a reverse camera that I will say it works when you can see it, but it's so offset that it's really difficult to accurately back the car into parking spaces. You pretty much have to use your mirrors. So, for example, we've got this going into a parking space right now. We're pretty well centered between the lines, according to the camera. Let's see how it looks when we get out of the car. Okay. Not too bad. We're a little bit crooked. Oh, we're quite crooked. and there's way more room on the passenger side. So this is a little bit frustrating when you're trying to back into parking spaces. You can never quite accurately do so, and that's just because the reverse camera is so offset here to the driver's side of the vehicle. If they could have just moved it over a little bit or centered it. I know there isn't a whole lot of room in here, but you know, when you come out with a model in 2011 and you add features, that's how it goes. Like all crossovers, a decent amount of trunk space here. Get a good full-size spare tire. Cargo cover. Not really sure what this flappy bit is down here. I think it's probably when you fold the seats down so everything lays flat. From the rear end, this kind of has a little bit of a Crosstrek look to it. Decent amount of ground clearance. This probably would be pretty decent off-road. The only minus, though, is the lowest point of the car is the exhaust, and that's not ideal in the back. Otherwise, though, I think with the four-wheel drive or the all-wheel drive system in this car, it'd be a neat little off-roader if you had to do some driving off the pavement on a regular basis. The ride quality is nice. It soaks up bumps pretty well. Mitsubishi's interpretation of the hiking boot. In the back seat, you have a decent amount of space. It's really easy to get in and out of. Ingress, egress is fantastic with this tall door sill. And for 5'10", driver and backseat passenger, I have plenty of legroom. It's a little bit dark and minimal back here. There's no air vents or USB chargers or really anything back here except for an armrest and a couple cup holders. But it does the job. The job being a back seat. All right, let's take this Outlander Sport for a drive here. There is a lightness and a cushiness to this Outlander Sport it's got pretty decent road manners. Like I said, I do enjoy the ride quality in this car. That is one of its higher points. The CVT is it's kind of a stereotypical CVT in the sense that it's the type of CVT that kind of whirs away. It stays in higher RPMs, and it's okay. It does the job. This 2.4 liter has ample amount of power. We'll get into some pulls with this later on, getting onto the highway. I do like that you can kind of select different four-wheel drive modes with this four-wheel drive button down here. Basically, you can lock the all-wheel drive system, put it in just front-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, or do four-wheel drive auto, which is how the car defaults. Otherwise, though, it's pretty basic. Every control is very easy to access, and you can see everything in front of you. You have front and rear-facing fog lights, which is kind of unique. Not a lot of vehicles have the rear fogs anymore. Its first tendency is to understeer. I see a traction control light flashing, but not really a whole lot of intervention. You do get a nice higher driving position. And there's a little bit of body roll, but it kind of gives you a sense of the grip and capabilities of this chassis. It soaks up bumps well, even under cornering. Put it into two-wheel drive here. I don't really imagine that'll give you much of a difference in feel on dry pavement, but in the snow or in slippery conditions, four-wheel drive auto will probably work pretty well in the background. We did a little bit of light off-roading with this week, and it seemed to do a decent job getting through mud and 2 tracks. On the highway, road noise isn't too bad. There's not a lot of wind noise. Road manners, like I said, are just fine. It's about what you would expect for the class. I'd say ultimately the minuses with this car, the CVT kind of whirs away a little bit, but it's not bad, and you get a great warranty. The interior is not inspiring to look at all. The steering wheel is kind of a weird shape. The dash is a pretty big slab of gray. I call this kind of lizard skin, dinosaur skin plastic. You get great visibility though, and it's just an easy car to get in, turn on, and go. Let's do a sound test while we're here. Bass gets a little bit rattly and really shows its limits when you raise the volume. Not the best sound system. Yeah, not great. Okay. You guys get the idea though. Cruise control is refreshingly simple to use. Just a little button press up, down. No fanciness there. Get a blind spot monitoring system that works quite well. Easy to turn on and off there too. Some good, some bad. Is it worth $28,000? No. But I don't think anyone's really paying 28 grand for these cars. I looked up on AutoTrader some brand new 2020 Outlander Sport GTs, same trim, same everything, and they're being listed for about 25, 26, and used, the values on these drop pretty quickly. There's a pretty big hit in depreciation the first year or two, so luckily you can get one of these for pretty cheap, probably in the range of $7,000 to $15,000 for an Outlander Sport that's really only a couple years old, 3 to 5 years old. And I'm sure there's some factory warranty still remaining there. Not a terrible buy used, I think, if you're looking for something that's reliable, reasonably reliable. I'd probably go for the base model front-wheel drive. If you really need Apple CarPlay, you can get one of the newer models, but ultimately, it's basic transportation for most drivers and most consumers. Even over larger bumps and undulations, this thing does pretty well. It's kind of nice. The short wheelbase, the small footprint on the road gives it a little bit of a nimbleness. Oh, wasn't happy with the dirt moose test. Put it in four-wheel drive auto, see how it does. Alright guys, well that'll wrap it up for this one. Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Good for basic transportation, simple, not a lot of distractions in here. But if you want the latest in tech, the nicest sound system, for the price new, there are so many great options out there. Besides this, and you know, this is getting pretty long in the tooth, but if you do appreciate some of the advantages that this car does provide, then you should probably go look at one. You could probably pick one up pretty cheap. So we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. If only they offered the 5-speed manual still. I mean, that's probably the one I'd go for. 5-speed manual, front-wheel drive, that's all you need. Though it does come with a base 2-liter engine, which I hear is pretty asthmatic. And this 2.4 has a decent amount of power to it. Okay, see you guys later. Thanks again. Take care.